house. first started Logan Months and Months, they were set on treating their clients like they were part of the family. And all these years later, that hasn't changed. Our family is up to 40-plus lawyers dedicated to fighting for you, our family. And that's why you treat Logan Months and Months.
Instead of flexible school, from a flexible child, environment that suits a learning style. Place where learning is fun, go hand in hand with a smart curriculum that's already planned.
Hey. Bam, bam, bam.
What's up, family? Despite a new law making it illegal to possess, sell, or deliver assault weapons, an Illinois sheriff says he will not arrest those in violation. Furthermore, about half of the nation's states have made it legal for people to carry guns without a permit. And family, I ain't got to tell you that it is going to affect black society more than any society. Let me explain something to you. Every time they pass a law that makes it seem like they're protecting us or they're doing something for our greater good, what they're doing is taking away more of our rights and making it easier for them to violate us. It seems like, we'll just make it legal for everybody who want to have a gun to just get a gun, no permit, no background check, no training. Here you go, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun. Hey, you get a bomb, you get a grenade, you get a missile. It seems to me that they really want us to kill each other. And they also want to make sure they can get away with killing us. Because now that it is legal for anybody to just have a gun, then more people quite naturally are going to have guns. We already have a huge problem with guns in this country. Now, fam, for clarity, I am a gun advocate. I believe in the right to bear arms. But I also believe in being responsible with that right. And I don't believe just because you are a convicted felon that you should never, ever be allowed to own a gun again. Because if you do your time, once you do your time, the debt is paid. When you pay your debt, the debt is paid. Let's say you commit a crime and you go out there and they lock you up or whatever. Maybe they give you probation, but they lock you up. Let's say they lock you up. You do your time. You get out, perhaps you're on parole or probation. You do that. You adhere to all the rules. You follow the guidelines. You do what you're supposed to do. And now you're off probation, you're off parole. You should be given an equal chance to reestablish yourself, to get acclimated, to return to society as a citizen with all of your rights. Because guess what? They're going to make sure you pay those taxes. They're going to make sure that you don't get to run with red lights. You don't get to speed. You got to behave by you have to abide by all the other rules. So why is it that you have your other rights limited? And I know, you shouldn't have committed the crime. You shouldn't have did it. Yeah, but you're not going to allow a person to reintegrate into society and give a person a chance to get it right, to be whole again. If you're not going to allow them to be whole again, they're never going to feel whole again.
What?
They're going to feel totally obligated.
No, not yet.
To play by the rules. Now, some of y'all don't get that. Because some of y'all that, you don't play by the rules, that's when you go back to jail. That's when you get killed. Now, you can say that all you want to, fam, but it's different. I tell you like that. It's different. somebody to play by the rules. You want them to continue to pay taxes and all that stuff, but you don't want to give them all of their rights back. If you think a person is that dangerous, well, you can't. They can never have a gun again to protect themselves or their family. Well, don't let them out of jail ever again. Don't allow them to ever be free ever. You know, if somebody have a mental problem, I get it. If you can establish that a person has mental issues, I get it. We should do that if a person even don't have a criminal history. We should do that. There's some things that we can do to be responsible as citizens, but there's also things that these elected officials can do to be responsible as public servants. This is a ridiculous law, and I do believe it has political implications. This thing has politics written all over it. They're playing games with our lives. And I'm telling you, fam, as always, black people are going to be affected the most. Now, here's the deal for all of you who sit back thinking, well, as long as it happen to them, it don't happen to me. Let me tell you something. So as black folks go in this country, the rest of this country goes. Just like every time this country needs to be bailed out, who do they call? That's right. That's right. Every single time this country has ever needed to be bailed out, black people have been right there on the front line. Now tell me I'm lying. No, you're lying. This is a horrible idea. Horrible.
What is the idea? I didn't even hear that.
The debt is paid. It is illegal to possess. What's up, family? Despite a new law making it illegal to possess, sell, or deliver assault weapons, an Illinois sheriff says he will not arrest those in violation. Furthermore, about half of the nation's states have made it legal for people to carry guns without a permit. And family, I ain't got to tell you that it is going to affect black society more than any society. Let me explain something to you.
Oh, it is. We're just shooting every day now.
Pass a law that makes it seem like they're protecting us or they're doing something for our greater good. What they're doing is taking away more of our rights and making it easier for them to violate us. It seems like, we'll just make it legal for everybody who want to have a gun to just get a gun, no permit, no background check, no training. Here you go, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun. Here, you get a bomb, you get a grenade, you get a missile. It seems to me that they really want us to kill each other. And they also want to make sure they can get away with killing us. Because now that it is legal for anybody to just have a gun, then more people quite naturally are going to have guns. We already have a huge problem with guns in this country. Now, man, for clarity, I am a gun advocate. I believe in the right to bear arms, but I also believe in being responsible with that right. And I don't believe just because you are a convicted felon that you should never, ever, 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 ever be allowed to own a gun again. Because if you do your time, once you do your time, your debt is paid. When you pay your debt is paid. Let's say you commit a crime and you go out there and you know they lock you up or whatever. Maybe they give you probation, but they lock you up. Let's say they lock you up. You do your time. You get out. Perhaps you're on parole or probation. You do that. You adhere to all the rules. You follow the guidelines. You do what you're supposed to do. And now you're off probation. You're off parole. You should be given an equal chance to reestablish yourself, to get acclimated, to return to society as a citizen with all of your rights. Because guess what? They're going to make sure you pay those taxes. They're going to make sure that you don't get to run red lights. You don't get to speed. You got to behave by you have to abide by all the other rules. So why is it that you have your other rights limited? And I know, well, you shouldn't have committed the crime. You shouldn't have did it. Yeah, but fam, you're not going to allow a person to reintegrate into society and give a person a chance to get it right, to be whole again. You're not going to allow them to be whole again. They're never going to feel whole again. They're never going to feel totally obligated to play by the rules. Now, some of y'all don't get that. Because some of y'all think, well, you don't play by the rules, then everything go back to jail. That's when you get killed. And you can say that all you want to, fam, but you're telling your rights. Because guess what? They're going to make sure you pay those taxes. They're going to make sure that you don't get to run red lights. You don't get to pay those taxes to play by the rules. A criminal history. We should do that. There's some things that we be free ever. Now, if somebody have a mental problem, I get it. If you can establish that a person has mental issues, I get it. We should do that if a person even don't have a criminal history. We should do that. There's some things that we can do to be responsible as citizens, but there's also things that these elected officials can do to be responsible as public servants. This is a ridiculous law, and I do believe it has political implications. This thing has politics written all over it. They're playing games with our lives. And I'm telling you, fam, as always, black people are going to be affected the most. Now, here's the deal for all of you who sit back thinking, well, as long as it happened to them, it don't happen to me. Let me tell you something. So as black folks go in this country, the rest of this country goes. Just like every time this country needs to be bailed out, who do they call?
Ghostbusters.
Black people have been right there on the front line.
Booger.
Tell me I'm lying. No, you're lying.
Booger. What you doing?
This is a horrible idea. Horrible, horrible idea.
What's up?
What say you, fam?
What you doing?
I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.
Booger, you want to arm wrestle? Booger. You want to fight? You want to fight? Huh? Booger? You want to fight?
We'll leave the light on for opening act. The ones who hit hit the road with a guitar and a dream and pile into a van that's about ready to give up. Bands like Action Adventure aren't on top of the marquee yet, but they know if they play like there's a packed house, one day there will be. And wherever the music takes them, they'll always have a place to stay at Motel 6, with beds a whole lot comfier than a van. Book your room at motel6.com. We'll leave the light on.
Don't do it, Daddy.
Tired?
You don't know that yet.
Anybody go over to you now? You tired, my guy? Come on, y'all, man. I know y'all here.
Jake from State Farm?
Yeah, what's up?
Alright, Nick, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. This is a team that we have really loved from day one. The turnaround this team has done with Geno Smith at the helm has been nothing short of incredible. But we have a story today about a key player in particular, Nick, that I think Seattle Seahawks fans will get really, really excited about. His praises have been sung from day one, but they are getting sung even louder now.
Yeah, nice look. The Seattle Seahawks were a good team last year. They appear to be on their way to being a great team. This new Seattle Seahawks that they've added to the roster appears to be a key piece going forward. But before we get into that report, Seahawks fans got an interesting question for you to answer today, as always in the comment section below. Throughout the history of the Seattle Seahawks, what's one player that played for this team that you'd love to take out to lunch, take out to dinner, maybe out for a drink, and just talk football for a little bit? A guy you really wanted to pick his brain, to see his reaction, talk ball for a little bit. Give us your guy, your Seattle Seahawks that you'd love to take out and just talk ball in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's this latest update out of Seattle?
Yeah, Nick, we know Seattle Seahawks have looked dangerous the last couple of seasons, especially last season. There's a noticeable improvement when Geno Smith took over this team. This offense got very efficient, but I think there's even more reason for them to get excited this season. We're talking about none other than rookie wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State. This guy was a bona fide playmaker in college, and I think his praises are being sung by the other top dog on the receiver realm of the Seattle Seahawks. We're talking about DK Metcalf has come out and spoken about how happy he is that Jackson Smith and Jigba is on this team. I'm going to get into the article here, Nick, and then we can talk about what this means for the Seahawks. But it says DK Metcalf does not seem bothered by potentially having to share the spotlight with Smith and Jigba. In fact, he seems elated by the fact Metcalf hyped up his rookie teammate Tuesday during an interview with NFL Network's Taylor Biscotti before highlighting the Seattle Seahawks' whole arsenal of offensive weapons. I mean, the type of person he is first, Metcalf said of Njigba. He's a great dude, and on the field, he's a great route runner, and he has excellent hands. So I think he's going to open the offense even more. He and Zach Charbonnet are going to do, amazing things. At the running back position, also, Ken Walker will do good as well. We have a whole arsenal of weapons on offense. Also, adding Bobby Wagner to the backside of the defense gives us a bona fide leader. This is a whole team. So, Nick, I think this obviously was from over on Bleacher Report, and I love what Metcalf said. This team seems loaded on all sides, but we're going to focus today on that receiver room, specifically on Njigba, because I think he brings a ton to this team who's already talented in its own right. Lockett and Metcalf both went for over 1,000 yards last year. Kenneth Walker also rushed for 1,000+ yards last year. Adding a guy like Smith and Jigba to this team, I think is going to take it to another level. What do you think about this thing?
Yeah, Miles, I think the Seahawks have essentially become unstoppable if Njigba can live up to the hype. And there's no reason to think he can't. He's from Ohio State. He's extremely talented. We watched the Rose Bowl game against Utah, I believe, where he single-handedly won the game for Ohio State. I think like 400 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. It was an unreal performance from him. And, of course, the fact that he's already winning over his teammates is a great sign. That always is kind of an issue, especially with receivers, when you add new guys into the fold. How are they going to get along? How are they going to gel? How are they going to get in the rhythm and the timing, things like that? Because, one of the things you hear a lot in the NFL is about getting the quarterback and the receiver on the same page. It's just as important to get all the receivers on the same page. They all have to be in the same timing and cadence with all their different route combinations that are all running at the same time. And the fact that Metcalf is coming out and saying such good things about Smith and Jigba and that he expects him to be a good player for this offense makes me think that they're already on schedule or even ahead of schedule. And look, the Seahawks team with this level of weapons, if they're all on the same page, it's just going to be brutally tough for people to stop. And I think this is kind of interesting, Miles, because we're hearing a lot right now as we get into the month of July and a lot of hype going on for the 2023 season. We're hearing a lot about the Detroit Lions as an up-and-coming team. Heck, we're hearing a lot about Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. We're hearing about how the 49ers are going to be good and the Eagles are going to be good. We're hearing about the Cowboys. We're hearing about the Falcons and Desmond Ridder. We're hearing about the Saints and all that kind of stuff. We're not hearing about the Seahawks. This was a playoff team last year. This was a team that actually gave the 49ers in San Francisco a really good run for their money for a little bit. You add a couple key players, especially Smith and Jigba on offense, you added Bobby Wagner on his defense. This team could be significantly, and I think they will be significantly better in 2023. I think the rest of the NFC should look out, because this is a team that's going to make a lot of noise. This is not just a playoff team. I think this is a team that's ability to make a deep playoff push.
Yeah, Nick, I think, like you said, this is a team headed for the playoffs. They're almost there last year. I think this team, they
made it.
Well, yeah, they're going to actually make a run in the playoffs of this year. I think this is a team primed to get there. As far as this is a contender in I would say, arguably weak NFC. There's not that many teams that can be better than the Seahawks, I would say. They definitely have a shot at winning their division. Obviously, the 49ers are talented, but who's going to be the quarterback? That's really the question there. And are they going to be able to be healthy? That's really the question there. That's a huge one. I think Seattle has proved they have help on their side. They have longevity. They have a lot of talent around the ball, just as much as anyone else in the NFC. So I think they have a really good shot to make these playoffs.
When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
Miller's Ale House has some mad deals, like the 6-ounce sirloin steak and 12 fried shrimp for just $14.99. $14.99? Seriously?
Cut! Let's try that again with the Miller's Ale House Prime Burger and action.
Get our signature Prime Burger with double the patties for only $3.99 more. Stacked almost as high as 2 baseballs. Now that's Miller size.
Cut!
In real life, this is Miller size.
And that's been for a while. So I think that kind of stigma has stuck a little bit with the Seahawks having that true, like you mentioned, since Frank Clark. They've lacked that true, really star, or at least emerging star at the edge position. So the production last year and what we expect this year certainly does not match that ranking. I think that's far too low. Now, do I think they're a top 10 unit? Absolutely not. Uchenna Nwosu, like I mentioned, was top 10 in a lot of categories among edges. The problem was that there was a large drop-off between him and Darrell Taylor as far as total pressures. I believe the next edge defender, Darrell Taylor was the next edge defender on the Seahawks, and he had 27 pressures compared to 62 for Uchenna Nwosu, so less than half. And I think it's just full of unknowns. And, you have Boye Mafe year 2. That's a big unknown. You have Derek Hall, the impact he could make as a rookie, like you mentioned. That could really swing this in a positive direction. If Boye Mafe takes a step and Derek Hall comes in and makes an impact as a rookie, this unit will be very solid. I think 27 is pretty darn low. I would probably err on the 15 to 20 range, maybe right around the middle of the pack right now. So 27, I think, is a bit harsh.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point about the name recognition aspect. I mean, even Uchenna Nwosu outside of Seattle, even with the season he had last year, he's not a household name around the league. And until he gets double-digit sack, he got very close last year to doing that, but until he becomes a double-digit sack guy and makes a Pro Bowl or as a second-team All-Pro selection, it's going to be difficult for him to enter that realm where he has a name that's recognized. And then the rest of the players, and Darrell Taylor's had flashes. He was brilliant rushing the passer the second half last year. He was as good as any pass rusher in the league, but he's been very inconsistent. And he hasn't been able to play enough snaps because his run defense has been severely lacking at times. And teams were purposely running at him last year. That was the big reason he lost his starting job after 3 games. It wasn't because he couldn't rush the passer. It was the run defense that was keeping him off the field and limited his snaps. Boye Mafe, on the other hand, he was a flip of that. He was outstanding against the run, which that was not expected. And pass rushing, he didn't get a lot of chances, only 10 pressures, limited pressure rate. And Derek Hall coming in the league, rookies, you just don't know what you're going to get out of those players coming into the league. Boye Mafe was decent as a rookie last year. Darrell Taylor missed his entire first season. His pseudo-rookie year had 6.5 sacks. So you just don't know what you're going to get. But I think that's really been the theme this week because we've talked about Devin Witherspoon at corner and how he could impact an already good cornerback group. And Jackson Smith-Njigba at receiver. What are the realistic expectations? There's a lot of projection here when we're talking about these young players, and there's a very young stable of pass rushers here. So I could see them being in the 20s just based on the fact that there is a lot of uncertainty. If this was based off of upside strictly, though, I think Seattle, with all the second rounders, they've got the young talent. This is still a group that could be a top 15, maybe even top 10 caliber group if everything falls in line. They've got that kind of talent. But again, this is projections based. And when you're talking about projections, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And it's possible that some of these young guys are going to hit a little bit of a wall, or maybe Derek Hall doesn't contribute as much as they hope as a rookie. The Seahawks are hoping that's not the case. But you also have Tyree Smith, who is another big unknown coming into the season. You just got a lot of young guys that you're not necessarily sure what you're going to get. And even with Uchenna Nwosu, he's been an ascending player, but he's had 1 year with more than 5 sacks. So what does he do to follow up that breakout season last year? There's talent. There's guys that fit the scheme, but it's certainly a group that's got a lot of question marks too. And so I think that's a big reason why they're as low on that list for Mike Clay and as low as they are in the rankings for a lot of other media experts out there. I think that's the big reason why, because there's not palpable evidence of consistent multi-year production from this group.
Yeah, and I just feel like rankings like 27th and on, or maybe 25th and down, that should be more reserved for known commodities that are terrible. The Seahawks are not a known commodity at the edge department, which I think could be to their benefit. Like we mentioned, no star power yet, a lot of young guys, a lot of unprovens, a lot of question marks, but that could be a good thing. And I think you and I both kind of believe it as a good thing because, yes, the track record since, in the post-Frank Clark era has not been great at the edge position, and I think this is starting to emerge as a new era for the Seahawks in this position. And, so that ranking is a bit more, I think, for like, oh, yeah, we know this team, we know who they are, and their edge rushers stink. That is not the Seahawks. That is not the ranking they deserve. That's, the question marks, the rookies, the unsung heroes of general issues. That's, I feel like, a bit more towards like the late teens or early 20s kind of ranking.
Yeah, I look at this group and
Yo, what up, Mar?
Perception and 27 out of 32 teams. There are plenty of other rankings out there where the edge position is viewed as a big question mark or in the lower third in the NFL. I think to change that perception, as silly as it is, you got to have at least one of these guys be a double-digit sack producer. I think that as silly as that is, that's the number. Those are the stats that matter. Can you get double-digit sacks? Can they have somebody, as Mina Kimes said in our show, can you have a player truly emerge as that number one pitcher? They haven't had that go-to strikeout guy coming off the edge since Frank Clark left. They just haven't. They've had some decent players. They've had some really
Have I
good
pulled
numbers.
it in game?
They have somebody step up as that number one ace rushing off the edge, whether that's
No.
Nwosu or Taylor or Derek Hall comes in to start immediately as a rookie. That'd be huge for the Seahawks. I think that's how you change the perception, though, is you got to have somebody that truly rises to stardom. And Nwosu might be close. Some of these other guys might be close. But until somebody actually reaches that point, it's going to be difficult to change that national perception through several years of average and mediocre production rushing quarterbacks.
No, I ain't pulled one yet. I ain't really been opening packs, though. I've just been trying to snipe everything.
Sorry, a dog barking out in there.
Yeah.
So
It down.
It does much like a lot of this team. We saw it last year. Some unsung, some under the radar. I think this is how this team thrives. In fact, I'm glad that they are ranked so low. I'm happy because I would rather it that way than being overrated. I would rather they be underrated. So I'm hoping, even though it's kind of a silly thing, just another notch in the chip on the shoulder belt.
Coming up next, we're going to continue our Forecast Friday series. We're going to have Ken Walker III and Bobby Wagner as our offensive and defensive spotlighted players. We'll look at what went right, what went wrong for those two players in 2022, and projections for the upcoming season. You're listening to the Blue Friday edition of Locked On Seahawks. It is brought your way by FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting Major League Baseball on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right, just $20 bet, and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to over/under that you think is going to hit the first home run of the day. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you can get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet an MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel, the partner of Major League Baseball. You're listening to the Blue Friday edition of Locked On Seahawks. I'm your host,
Just want to get the fucking y'all.
Joined on today's show by my co-host, Lee. And a special thanks to all the 12s out there. Whether you're listening in Anchorage, Alaska, or down in Dallas, Texas, Cowboys country, we greatly appreciate you making Locked On Seahawks your first listen 5 days a week. For our everydayers out there coming up on Monday,
Yeah, he's gonna sell.
continue our training camp previews here.
He is gonna sell.
Back over to the defensive side of the football. We're talking defensive tackle, the meat of the defensive line.
The meat.
To our forecast Friday now, shall we? We've got Ken Walker III and Bobby Wagner, two players different ends of the spectrum. Ken Walker III coming off an amazing rookie year. Bobby Wagner, 33 now, still playing at a very high level, now entering his 12th season. We'll start with K9 on offense thing, and you look at what he did.
What's going on, Clyde?
Running back in Seahawks history, Federal in his rookie campaign, in second in rookie of the year voting, nearly hit double-digit touchdowns, and he did that when he became a starter in week 5. It's not like he was the starter.
Got that free KD. Yeah.
Really good numbers overall.
That's nice.
Really impressive season. It feels like he's just scratching the surface of his potential. Even with Zach Charbonnet now coming in for some of his playing time, for some of his snaps.
Both of them hoop. I like the
there earlier in the year. I think he runs away with the
hero one though.
In fact, I still think he should have won it.
The Supersonics one good though.
But if he's playing in Tampa or Tennessee or Arizona, he doesn't win that award. He won because he won in New York.
Yeah, the Supersonics
one. He won over Walker because of that. Walker had 9 rushing touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. He actually had, and actually I kind of dove into the voting. And Ken Walker had 4 first-place votes than Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Maybe if he reaches that, 1,100-yard, 10-touchdown plateau, he wins. But either way, fine season for a rookie running back. Absolutely, the Seahawks just know how to find those guys. The head scratching that went on when the Seahawks selected him so high, early in the second round, that went away pretty quickly when he took the field.
They got it free when you get a package. You got to get them rings and whatever that is, unlimited.
It's actually better than parts of peak Marshawn Lynch in Seattle. Better than Marshawn Lynch's 2011 and 2013 campaign as far as yards per carry go. So really solid there. And it's just you love that he established himself there now as the alpha in the room as far as running backs go. Because now you bring in, like you mentioned, another young gun, Zach Charbonnet, who should garner some carries. Last year when Rashad Penny went down, it was the Ken Walker show starring himself, Ken Walker. I mean, that was it pretty much. I mean, DJ Dallas, mixed in there, but now that's very much not the case, and that's I think a really good thing for the Seahawks as a team. But as far as the mouths to feed kind of thing, where how many carries can Ken Walker get? Can he get to the 225, 230 range again, or 250 when he plays the whole season? With guys like Zach Charbonnet, who I think will push for 100 carries, or Kenny McIntosh, I think we need to start. You and I both talked about him a lot. I think he's still a little bit under talked about as a 7th round pick. But the real question I think right now, Corbin, besides of course staying healthy, because boy, that has just been
in-game cat
for Seattle running backs in recent past, but just with the quality of talent that they've added on the draft with Ken Walker, will he have that opportunity to be that alpha, bell cow this season?
Yeah, that's really the big question. And I talked a little bit about it on earlier episodes. I still think that he's going to be their workhorse, but you might see a little bit smaller percentage share that so you can get Zach Charbonnet and some of these other backs on the field. But I also expect that this offense is going to be better on 3rd down. They're going to be able to prolong drives a little bit more so they can get more opportunities for the running backs too. But when you look at what Walker did last season, there's a lot of stuff that jumps out. For one,
he was I don't need a yow, man.
Designed run plays at 15+ yards.
I've been trying to snipe a hero for about 3 days now.
Maybe not quite as much as Rashad Penny in terms of percentage,
ain't coming out.
Still hit a bunch of home runs. He's a guy that can take the top off the defense. He can blow by linebackers, corners, and safeties. He was in the top 10 in missed tackles forced. He was in the top 10 in rushing yards for the season. He was in the top 10.
I'll get back to getting Vince. Try to get a Vince.
He was in the top 10 as well in yards after contact from week 5 on. So we're talking about a guy that really had an impressive season for the Seahawks. Top 10 in rushing touchdowns even though he didn't start a game until week 5. So you can just keep looking at the numbers that he put up, and it was really a phenomenal season. Maybe the number I liked the most, he didn't fumble once the entire season, and that was something he was known for at Michigan State and Wake Forest. He didn't put the ball on the ground, really good with ball security. I think the one thing that we have to see really improve this year, that 4.6 yards per carry number is a fine number, but I feel like it could go up significantly if he was less of a feast or famine runner. And what I mean by that is I felt like, especially when they had that slump where they were struggling, the O-line had something to do with this, but he was too patient. He was trying to be too much like a Le'Veon Bell type, and that indecisiveness was leading to too many plays at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield. It was setting him behind the sticks. It was lowering his yards per carry average, and there were a number of games where he was below 3 yards per carry in that stretch. Some of that was on him. He's got to be more decisive. The windows, the creases to run through, they're pretty small in terms of the amount of time that you have to be able to get downhill against NFL defenses. So that and pass protection, that is still an area where he's really got to shore things up. Giving up 7 pressures on less than 50 pass protection snaps, that's not necessarily what you're looking for there. So he's got to continue to make strides there. But if you do that, I still think he's a 1,000-yard rusher as long as he can stay healthy. Maybe touchdowns or impact a little bit with Charbonnet, but I expect that he's going to be able to contribute some in the passing game, and I certainly think this is a player that has a chance to really build off last year and be one of the better running backs in the NFC.
At Firestone, we treat every car like it's our own and every customer like they're our family.
I want to be with
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
That's my problem.
Yeah, that's why I had picked.
Helping our neighbors since 1926, Firestone Complete Auto Care.
You bring up a really good point about the
That's who. That's who I had fucking picked.
Maybe a little bit misleading because, yeah, I was looking at his game logs and he had 1, 2, 3, full games of yards.
Let's see if we get a fucking game.
4.6 when he started. He also had 3 games, when he started, three full workloads of games where he was below 3 yards per carry. So that there definitely was a wide disparity there for sure, like you mentioned. And again, in the past game, third downs, that's something to be improved. I can see, especially as we have that 17th game now, it's a little easier to get to the 1,000-yard mark. Really, if he stays healthy most of the year, I think he's going to get to the 1,000-yard mark pretty easily. I do think that he'll see his carries dip a little bit as far as per game, maybe with some of the added talent around him. But like we keep having to remind ourselves, he wasn't a starter until pretty much October. So if he gets that full season with how quality of a runner, how explosive he was, I think he'll get to 1,000 yards pretty easily health well.
Let's shift over to the defense to a first ballot Hall of Famer now coming back to Seattle. Bobby Wagner, after a 1-year stint in LA, no longer going to be wearing those ugly blue and yellow uniforms that Seahawks fans love to hate. He's going to be back in blue and green. He's going to be wearing the retro uniforms at some point this season. I think the Seahawks fans were rejoicing, as they should be, that Bobby Wagner was back in town. And for good reason, because this is not just a ceremonial signing. This isn't like you're just bringing back an aging player that isn't what he used to be. I mean, maybe he isn't the player he was 3 or 4 years ago, but Bobby Wagner's still pretty darn good. Second-team All-Pro, surpassed 100 tackles for the 11th consecutive season. Talk about consistent excellence. Career high in sacks. He had 6 of them, 20 quarterback pressures, had just 1 touchdown allowed in coverage, intercepted 2 passes. I mean, you can nitpick a little bit with some of the coverage numbers out there, 11 yards per reception allowed, but, I mean, Nick, he only gave up 1 touchdown. He had 3 pass breakups. He had 2 interceptions. The sacks, the pressure numbers. I mean, Bobby Wagner might have to do things a little bit differently than he did a few years back, but he's still an incredibly disruptive runner, or disruptive linebacker, and still a very disruptive player against the run, which, seeing the way the Seahawks played last year, they could certainly use that back in the middle of their defense.
I think I'm going to try to get Vince right now.
Yeah, he's certainly not the same exact player he was, in, say, the 2015, 2019 range for the Seahawks, but that doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I think he's a different kind of really, really good linebacker. He's added a little bit to add a little bit of tricks to the trade, and I just chuckle looking at his Pro Football Reference page or his documented football.
Vince.
Seattle, Los Angeles, Seattle. It's just, that's going to be a weird part of his legacy. That's okay. And another thing of last year, it was one of his better seasons of his entire career as far as not missing tackles. He only missed 2 tackles in over 1,000 defensive snaps last year. He was the highest rated linebacker by Pro Football Focus, which is incredible. 32 years old, second highest run defender, highest rated tackler. Naturally, he's going to fix some issues on there with run defense for the Seahawks. I'm really excited to see him in the middle of that linebacker core in that defense again, because boy, the Seahawks certainly need that help with the run defense. And like you mentioned, he is showing a little bit of big coverage, but he's an upper inside linebacker. That is not his bread and butter, never was, and that doesn't have to be. It's okay. And honestly, now looking at George Brooks' injury, some of the guys they brought in, thank God for Bobby Wagner, because this linebacker group, at least to start the season, would be shambles if it wasn't for Bobby Wagner kind of being an anchor like he has been for over a decade in Seattle. So I expect him to come back and kind of steady the ship there.
Oh, no, I'm doing the Victor.
Team All-Pro, 180 tackles, probably not, but I'm expecting a good old-fashioned Bobby Wagner season. Maybe Pro Bowl, maybe I expect.
Come on, Vic. Get your ass up off the ground, man.
Being part of the conversation for one of the best linebackers in football currently, even at 33 years old. Last year, he clearly showed it with that monstrous chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, you're looking at
Come on, Process.
a bulldog learning new tricks, and that makes me really curious how the Seahawks are going to mesh into their defense now, because they are going to do some things, and Wagner talked about this in the press conference recently, that they are going to mix some of the things the Rams did with him into what the Seahawks are now doing defensively, and the scheme that they adapted last year.
Process. Trust the process.
That scheme.
Embiid always falling. Get your ass up.
So I don't think it's going to be a super tricky thing for them to get Bobby Wagner brought back and converted to this defense.
What y'all doing with Terry Rozier out here?
Playing style. They need more opportunities where you play close to the line.
Calm down, Vic. You doing the Kobe and shit?
He's very good at it. 6 sacks last year.
And just around my back.
To mitigate maybe some of the deficiencies in coverage now. And I'm curious to see, I expect that based on him getting the green dot in his helmet again, I suspect that he's going to be on the field all the time. So when they first re-signed him, I thought maybe they'll start eating him back a little bit. But no, I expect at least beginning of the year he is going to be out there all the time. So there will be some schematic adjustments they will have to make to mitigate the fact he's not quite as fleet of foot as what he was earlier in his career, not going to be able to cover as much ground. But I think that they can do that. And I also think when they're in their nickel sets and even dime sets, you get Julian Love or Jamal Adams down there in the box. And you can help
I need that Vince Carter, man.
Some of those coverage issues, giving Bobby Wagner a smaller window to handle coverage-wise. I still think he could be effective in those instances. We saw that with the pass breakups and interceptions last season. So maybe the numbers aren't quite as good as we've seen from him in the past, Nick, but I mean, I would expect, based on his track record, you got to guarantee 100-plus tackles, and I'd expect him to get his hands on at least 1 interception. I would
what?
also find a way to get him after the quarterback. I'm not expecting a replication of 6 sacks again, but I could see a couple of sacks. They're going to get those kind of numbers from Bobby Wagner with the leadership he brings. This is going to be a huge addition to the defense. They're really struggling with the line last year.
Yeah, I think
come on, Shaq, you big bitch.
Just the infusion of veteran leadership and the ability against the run. I think the
Process.
Seahawks are building a bit more of a balanced defense now. And yeah, when we were first talking about perhaps the Seahawks bringing Bobby Wagner back, I did kind of question where the Seahawks were at in their development. Not that they would have outgrown Bobby Wagner, but have they moved on? But yeah, it sounds like there might be a bit of more of an melding pot of concepts there for Bobby Wagner. Really, he's going to be the most veteran, accomplished player on the field.
How did you foul him? How?
I think it's a really big signing, especially like I mentioned.
Just want him to get back in the game, huh?
Slowly. And otherwise, he'd be dealing with.
You can't find a way, but my computer filed on 3s and shit. Terry Rozier.
I think could be good for linebacker. Certainly not the one with Bobby Wagner.
thing holding you back? Who would your thing be?
Yeah, you'd have a lot of uncertainty, and we know there's.
Why would they pass to him? Why?
Where they've got some uncertainty, and that's really a perfect segue now, heading into our third segment here on our Good Friday Live on Seahawks. I'm your host, Gilbert Smith.
Magic is that.
Always on Friday.
Magic.
By my coach, Dave Lee, and a special thanks as well for tuning in and making Locked On Seahawks your first listen 5 days a week. Let's get to our defensive position rankings. We did offense last week. You and I were in agreement on receiver and running back at the top, and then we had some discrepancies after that. Let's go to the defensive side of the football, and I'm going to give you the mic here first pick, and I'm sure I know which one of two positions is going to be at number one on your list, but that's really where the debate starts.
Well, you and Rob touched on it yesterday.
Yo.
Is going to be it's clearly the strongest point of this team.
Clyde, what you want, man? Every time you gonna say yo, motherfucker.
And strictly because of the veteran accomplishments, the Pro Bowls, especially. It comes down to this. Jamal Adams is healthy and back to
So start making all them damn accountants and shit.
Playing at a high level than the acquisition. I'm considering in this position, Julian Love as a safety. If Jamal Adams is back to that form, you're talking about the best trio of safety.
You been in this motherfucking chat all day. What's up?
Have that. I mean, you can talk about, this safety's better than this guy or whatever, but as far as the trio as a whole, I'll take a Seahawks trio with it. That is a big caveat with Jamal Adams' health. And not only health, but is he back to that same Jamal Adams that Seahawks traded for? So that's why I got safeties number one, just because of the Pro Bowls, the accolades, the veteran accomplishments.
Fouling Magic.
The dynamic abilities of him. And then second, I have corners. And we all like Tariq Woolen. I think you and Rob brought the fair point yesterday that wondering, can Tariq Woolen duplicate that same success he had as a rookie in year two that historically can be pretty tough? Even if he doesn't fully get there, being one of the leaders of receptions, that even if he doesn't fully get there, the addition of Devin Lewis, you got Mike Jackson and Trey Brown, I think that's a very, very solid group. They might not have the same star power as the safeties do, but I think they're pretty darn good. And just the reason why I had corners under safeties is because of the youth. Devin Witherspoon, yes, top 5 pick, dynamic player, but he's a rookie and we're in July. So you have not seen Devin Witherspoon take snaps in the Seahawks uniform or when goals start flying, so to speak.
Man, come on, Rockets. God damn.
Just where he fits in this defense, how he plays, and finally gets his feet wet. There's a few more question marks at corner than there are at safety as far as depth. And, we kind of know what you're going to get with the safeties as long as all of it comes back fully healthy. But that's really the line for me is pretty thin between corner and safety. I put safety at 1, corner at 2.
Yeah, this really did feel like it was one of those 1A, 1B type situations, but I'm thinking a little bit different than you. I've got the cornerback room coming in at number 1, safety number 2, but it is a very thin margin, and it really goes back to, you were just talking about the concerns, we haven't seen Devin Witherspoon play, and that's something we talked about yesterday. Until he's on the field playing actual games, we don't know what Devin Witherspoon is.
You're making this game long as fuck, man.
We also don't know what Jamal Adams is going to look like. That's a very similar situation. What is he going to look like coming off the severe torn quad tendon? Now, everything I've been told, it sounds like he has made a really good recovery. He's moving well. That's excellent news. But until I see number 33 out there and he is playing at the level,
you still fouling.
Injured or at least close to it, I can't put safety in front of corner when I know I'm going to have Tariq Woolen. I know he had knee surgery, but he's going to be fine. He's going to be back in front of me. I am confident Devin Witherspoon can play at a high level right away. And if not, Mike Jackson has really found the leader. Trey Brown, Cody Brown. I just look at the players. They might not have the star power right now, but that group has the chance to have an incredible amount of star power. Another year or two from now, Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, that could be the equivalent of what it was like with Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor Roman, or at just the cornerback position. there's that kind of potential and upside. So I think, again, there's projecting here, but we don't know that Jamal Adams is going to get back. I still love the safety group, even if he's not quite right at the beginning of the season. Because Julian Glover started a lot of games. And Quandre Diggs was one of the best safeties in football the last 7 or 8 games last year. He returned to form. I'm expecting him to pick up where he left off and once again be one of the true ball hawks in the NFL, that free safety position. Both these positions are strong. That's why the secondary could be potentially a special group this year for the Seahawks. As far as moving down the list, though, here's where you and I have a few more discrepancies on our list. After corner and safety, I've got linebacker at number 3, defensive end and edge coming in at number 4, and defensive line coming in the rear. That is one area that you and I agree. I think that's the only spot where we have the same team. Looking at your list, defensive line, that is the same position unit at number 5. But you have edge ahead of linebacker. So I'm curious to hear your rationale on that, and then I'll get a chance to share my thoughts on that as well.
Well, we kind of touched on that a little bit in the first segment. I just really...
Sheba, what that's work.
Really trust the depth at the edge position more than we would linebacker. Of course, Bobby Wagner is a big piece in that. If it was just your top edge guy and top linebacker, well, I would have had him split, obviously. But I'm thinking more of depth and depth charts, maybe on the field. And I think I trust
Victor.
Shannon Wofu, Darrell Taylor, Fremont Jones, Derek Hall, those guys, or Boyd Mafe too, over the company that follows Bobby Wagner. As far as Jordan Brooks is out, and then Devin Bush, John Radigan. If you take out Bobby Wagner, I'm just kind of running on the assumption that
it's your ass.
Take a little bit of time to have to get back fully what he was before this year. So take out fully healthy George Brooks, take out Bobby Wagner. That linebacker is a little tenuous, and when you take, I just look.
You starting that, unless you getting back on your trolling.
There's not that star power.
You couldn't resist. You told me you were done trolling.
Where Uwosu goes down, it's not people panicking. Like I think if Bobby Wagner went down, along with Jordan Brooks still trying to get back, I think I might panic a little bit. So it just comes down to me trusting the depth.
Yeah, this one was actually very similar in the sense.
You told me you were done with it. You lied to your big homie. Damn.
This kind of felt like a 2A, 2B type thing where there was a pretty thin margin for error for me. And I think the edge group has more upside. But you have a rookie Derek Hall, just like Devin Witherspoon. We're not sure what we're going to see there. And I have some questions in terms of, I think he's pro ready, but there's some things that I think are going to take some time. And whereas I think Devin
damn, my boy Clyde lied to his big homie, man. My little homie. My fucking little homie that lied. Damn. You like a, I don't know, you're a professional troller. I don't know. I always appreciate you. I think you just pro. Who the hell is Clyde 2.0? Who the hell made a Clyde 2.0?
Because he's going to play in the box. They're a nickel and dime sets. He's going to be playing up there. So if I've got Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams and my defense both healthy, I really
that's what that is?
If I've got Jordan Brooks coming
Burrito done did that to you?
I get Jordan Brooks back. If not, I'm a little higher on Devin Bush at this point than what you are because he's 24. He's still a really young guy. That it sounds like things just weren't working at Pittsburgh. So he could be a classic change of scenery guy that rediscovers some of his game. I don't expect him to be the guy he was as a rookie, but I could see him being.
He got the same picture and everything.
So I just look at that group with Jamal Adams clustered in there.
You said that's a picture of your own, but that's you ain't got your picture.
There are some question marks. I just feel like Bobby Wagner is that one true stable superstar that I expect is going to go out and get big plays. And I think Devin Bush and Jordan Brooks, when he's healthy, can be competent starting linebackers for you. So I have a little more confidence there in terms of what I'm going to see. I can see more upside for the edge rushing group, though, if everything comes together. The one thing that we can agree on, the defensive line in the interior is still the biggest question mark. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and it's kind of a weird similar situation to the interior defensive line. for the Seahawks, where they came in last in our rankings, and there's some question marks, but I think we at least for me, like with the interior offensive line, the floor might be raised a little bit with some of the talent they added. And, Jaron Reed certainly has his concerns. Brian Monet's health, but Cameron Young, I could see being a nice player. Miles Adams, Mike Morris, and don't count out Josh Fry either in the interior. So that is probably the biggest question mark, not only on the defensive side, maybe on the whole team, is how this interior offensive line will hold up and gel together. So I do think that they probably can be, when 2023, the season is over, I'm confident in saying there was an improvement there from 2022, but the floor is a little low for that, so we'll see. But yeah, it's the whole defense, I think, has improved as a whole. Rising tide raises all ships, but that interior line still might be problematic depending on where the depth's at.
What's wrong, Tamar? See the Clyde 2.0 and the Clyde intro.
Because that is a polar opposite of the small Adams. The thing that I've heard, and I think Carroll said about him, it's kind of like with Allen Robinson, we did mention edge rushers. I just feel like those two guys, the report was pretty ominous on those guys. It seems like they are
I thought you had it.
if you can get Brian Monet back fairly early, so you have that big, massive nose tackle to go with Cameron Young, I think that would help a lot. Are you going to get the investment, the return of investment from Draymond Jones that you're hoping for? I see it on film, but is it going to work with this defensive scheme, with the different players he got around him? Is Jaron Reed going to be able to find the fountain of youth a little bit this season and be a little bit more consistent with his play? He was very up and down last year. Can Miles Adams take on a bigger role?
Yeah, second Clyde, two Clydes.
Last year, but he hasn't had a big role in the NFL where he's
I think it's the same Clyde. What you think, Tamar?
So you've got a number of question marks there. You're putting a lot of stock in your young guys. Mike Porter might have to play a lot more snaps than you expect from a fifth rounder, and I like the potential, but is he ready to do that? So again, I keep rattling off all these questions, and that is why, as you said, the floor might be a little bit higher than what last year's was, but we don't know where that ceiling is at. There's so much uncertainty. I still think there's going to be a veteran coming in. I don't know if it's Joey Harris coming back. I don't know if there's another player out there they're going to kick the tires on and bring in, but I still expect that there's going to be somebody else added, probably at that nose tackle position, to try to give them a little bit more depth, especially with it not looking optimistic that Brian Monet is going to be able to make it back early in the 2023 season. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, NFL. You can follow Nick at Nick371. Subscribe to on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you don't miss a single
Clyde 2.0.
When we come back on Monday, we're going to continue our training camp preview. We're going to go back to that interior defensive line, plus our 90-day countdown. Going into the 20s, we'll have numbers 20 through 18. Going to be doing 3 players at a time now that we're doing some of the bigger name stars. You won't want to miss it. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for listening. Go Hawks.
On there, Patrick O'Connell, the rookie from Montana, Cam Bright, the rookie.
What's up, Bam Bam? How you doing?
Washington. Again, they're both rookies. They're both undrafted guys. It's going to be interesting to see it.
Bam Bam Cam.
They're able to make Seattle drop. But we're talking about some dynamic athletes that might be able to help Seattle in the coverage. But again, going back to the point that Dallas made just real quickly, I think that we are going to see Seattle transition more. Of course, they brought in Julian Love to be able to give them that little bit of that free safety look. I think that's the way that they're going to try to address the huge holes.
What's good with you, man?
In the intermediary zones in the passing game that really forced Seattle's linebacker, or caused Seattle's linebackers to struggle as much as they did a year ago.
I know that this is not what fans necessarily want to hear. They want
Trying to get this Vince Carter right now, bro.
This is going to be a better group, or it's not going to be a better group. I'm just going to be honest with you. I have absolutely no damn clue if this group is going to be better. And that's not because I haven't put the time in. I mean, I've watched these guys. I watched all of Bobby Wagner's game with the Rams last year. We saw him in person against the Seahawks, his former team, now current team. twice.
Need events,
I'm
man.
curious how much the Seahawks are going to do things the Rams did with Bobby Wagner and try to mix that into their scheme, because he did blitz for him.
He might come out of the triple threat.
6 sacks, a career high last year. And I feel like the way the Rams deployed him in coverage where they weren't asking
I ain't
very verticals up the
I ain't never pulled no goddamn
it puts a lot of strain on
motherfucker out that damn vault.
try to handle it like that. But if you're playing a lot of nickel sets and you've got safety like a Julian Love who can handle those coverage responsibilities.
Bam Bam Can, where you coming from, my boy?
Playing tight ends and running backs. You have the flexibility to be able to do that and maybe be able to mitigate some of those athleticism declines that have led to some coverage issues for Bobby Wagner. And the Rams were able to do that last season. Their defense wasn't great, but they weren't bad because the offense really was helping them and let them have fun.
You got Phoenix shot. I'm in Phenom shot.
There's some uncertainty there with how they're going to use him. And he has said,
yeah, I got that shot.
There's going to be a mix of what he used to do and what he did last season, which that may be the way they need to do it. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a dash of salt, a dash of pepper, so that we can try to run the scheme we want to, but get the most out of Bobby
Clyde 2.0.
And then you got Devin Bush. What are you going to get from him? Is he going to be the player that he was a rookie when he was a finalist for Rookie of the Year? Or is it going to be the guy that
Let's go, Embiid. Trust the process.
Starting job 2 different times because he has not been the same player. He's played 10 there. The athleticism hasn't necessarily been there. Are you going to get
him the ball.
Player that
Come on, give him the ball.
Or are you going to get the post-injury player with, I don't know if he's a difference maker with the way he plays. And then Jordan Brooks, there's the big wild card here. When's he available? We saw videos.
Oh, come on, Dizzle. You got to hit that.
He looks like he's moving extremely well, considering he just had his surgery in January, but still, his surgery was in January. He's going to be back in week 1. That is a Peterson-type recovery. So there's a chance you still might not have him at the beginning of the season.
Oh, you follow my team, too? Okay.
So I really feel like, and you guys can weigh this as well, but
who you like? What your favorite team is? Oh, okay, Dizzle, did you just turn into Mike?
Utilizing an aging player like Bobby Wagner, or what are you going to get from Devin Bush, or when is Jordan Brooks going to be back? Is somebody like By Jones going to sneak into the mix here?
You just turned into Mike.
So many questions.
Yeah, I play Madden too. I just started playing this like maybe about 2-3 months ago. Since Madden did, but I'm waiting on Madden to crank back up. I got a pre-order. I actually need to go on there and fucking do my rookie premieres real quick.
Obviously, there's no tackling allowed in training camp, and so that is, of course, the most critical thing here when it comes to linebacker play. That's where I do believe that Seattle should see improvement. There were some whiffs from some of the Seahawks linebackers who are currently on the roster.
Oh, I just love playing. I just play. It's the same. It's good, but it's bad, Man to stress you out, but it's still one of them games that it sucks, but it's still fun to play.
And you mentioned a moment ago against Corbin as well. By Jones to me was the athletic wild card. He is the guy that we were both really impressed by his strength and his speed. A year ago, of course,
I put your ass in this one.
I'm curious how much different than
yeah, I got it pre-ordered already.
Should be mentioned here. Devin Bush again is absolutely a wild card.
V-Dub.
I'll say this with By Jones. When I went back and had seen him on the practice squad,
I ain't been on in a minute though, man. I might jump on a little bit. I do really need to get my fucking rookie premieres, well, a couple of them done, so I can start off with it.
I really do think that this is a possible NFL starting caliber linebacker that the Seahawks kind of have laying in the weeds right now.
Madden fun though, all the way up to about Easter.
But again, Dallas, I think he's pointing out here, there's uncertainty. Like, he's 10 pounds heavier, I can tell you that. He's gained 10 pounds of muscle. So there's reason to be optimistic, but at the same time, By Jones is playing in like 3 games in the NFL.
I missed both free throws.
So there's just so many question marks.
Brady got some nice cards.
It's kind of tough to tell, kind of tough to gauge what this linebacker group is going to look like.
As you were saying,
they got a scrambling Tom Brady.
looking at a very productive season in Wagner. As Rob said,
Victor.
still one of the best open field tackles, not just in today, but in the history of the game. And Wagner was getting better as a pass rusher and being used more as a pass rusher with the Rams. So if Seattle is willing to kind of integrate that into their system, Wagner is really looking like this could be a productive season, especially with the mix of Jordan Brooks if he's healthy. To me, that's
Vic is balling right now.
if Jordan Brooks is healthy,
What's up with you today, Vic?
better than if he has to wait until week 6 or week 8 to come back.
Yeah, and it's uncertain. We just don't know. And what I've been told is that they are
I
really.
don't even want in-game Vic. I like this Vic.
But we've seen these guys come
I think this Vic the better.
He's available in week 1. He might not be full with Jordan Brooks at that point, too. It takes guys time to get back and get the swing of things. So this is truly one of the most intriguing position groups just because there are so many question marks from the top to the bottom of the depth chart and the scheme.
Come on, process. You got to get out there.
It's going to be an interesting group to look at. There's no question about it. Moving into our 90-man countdown, guys, we are now going to be going into the 30s. We're past the halfway point, and we're going to start with a player who, under the radar, I think is going to be a very important piece for this Seahawks.
Vic, you missing the shit out of free throws, bro.
And we saw last year, Marquise Goodwin was signed in May, and he was their number 3 receiver, gave them some valuable reps. So sometimes those late veteran signings can end up paying dividends, and Mario Edwards is a guy that can play 3-10, he can play big end, he can play as a stand-up edge, you can move him all over the defensive line, and even though the sack numbers aren't there, Rob, this is a guy that had a career high.
I'm going to get this goddamn Vince.
Quarterback pressures last year, so he's capable, and he's a really sound run defender to score.
Yeah, 34 quarterback pressures, as you mentioned, 11 quarterback hits, just 3 sacks, and that's pretty much the way that his career has gone. He's been in the NFL now for 8 seasons. He has 19 and a half sacks during that time. He's a bit of a journeyman. He's played with 5 different clubs: Oakland, Chicago, New Orleans, the Giants, and Tennessee.
You don't even need that in-game Victor, man. You just need the invincible.
And certainly has the versatility that you're experienced to look for.
Oh, I blocked that, man.
80 pounds. He's got some
You need in-game.
as a pass rusher. He's got some power. He's not like he's kind of one of those guys who can do a little bit of everything for you. And that's one of the reasons why he has never become a star in the NFL. But he's played
the next one good.
99.
Hell no.
Of that, he's started 32 of them, so basically starting a third of the games in which he's played in the NFL. To me, I sometimes will mix my sports analogies.
Because he only can play center.
Your front line top pitcher. This is not your number 1. This is one of the back-end rotation guys who can do that fast baller. He can do that kind of ball release kind of a guy. Again, I realize this is not a baseball podcast, but I think that's where Seattle sees Mario Edwards' value for this club, and I love the fact that you mentioned Marquise Goodwin. I think that it's a very similar type of a situation here, in that Mario Edwards is a player that not a lot of fans are going to know much about, but at the same time, there is a scenario in which he plays a huge role for the Seahawks in 2023.
And Pete Carroll's made it sound like he's going to be battling against Jaron Reed for a starting spot. So you got 2 veterans that have played a lot of football that are going to be battling to start across from Draymond Jones, and we're assuming Cameron Young at the nose tackle position. Swinging over to the offense, we just mentioned Marquise Goodwin. One of the reasons that Marquise Goodwin had kind of a breakout season in terms of bouncing back, it had been a few years since he had a really productive year. One of the reasons he had those opportunities was because, again, D. Eskridge could not stay healthy, and he missed a bunch of games again last season, only had 7 receptions on the year. Dallas, a lot of fans have been ready to just move on from D. Eskridge, and drafting Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first round is certainly going to facilitate that, because now that's your number 3 receiver most likely. Eskridge now be the number 4 guy. But at the same time, there's going to be less pressure on him now. He doesn't have to step up to be that guy. He's just got to stay healthy. And from everything that's been reported coming out of their minicamp, this is maybe potentially a player that if he could just stay healthy, that out of nowhere is going to play up to his potential, which could really take this offense to a whole other level.
I didn't know 2 soldiers.
And Jackson Smith and Jigba have are both really different. Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to win in the underneath game via his quick change of direction, his ability on knowing the zone windows, his route ability. Now, Eskridge is going to win based off of his explosiveness, his yak ability, and his ability to get off the line of scrimmage and beat you 40 yards down the field. Eskridge has that game-breaking speed and athleticism that you want. And specifically with Shane Waldron as your OC, that slot receiver oftentimes is going to be in jet motions, oftentimes going to be getting free releases because of that. And for Waldron-like offenses, the slot receiver looks oftentimes more like D. Eskridge than it does a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba. So Eskridge still, to me, has a role in this offense, especially in under center when you're getting these jet motions, fly sweeps, and the fact that he's even a threat on those. That's big for a Waldron-like offense, especially when you want to run the ball off of that as well.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that is getting lost maybe for some fans. And not that Smith-Njigba couldn't do something like that, but that's not his game. He's not known as a gadget player that is going to get handoffs and run jet sweeps and stuff. And D. Eskridge,
all you got to do is keep reporting them. They're going to fuck around and shut them down.
I feel like D. Eskridge could be a really dangerous player on screens too. So I agree with you that there's still value there. The key is he's just got to stay healthy. This has truly been a case where this has been a guy, he hasn't been on the field enough to really get into a rhythm, and now there is less pressure on him. So maybe this is the year that we see all those tools come together, and then you could have...
He's going to fuck around and get his computer locked up.
Good luck to opposing defensive coordinators trying to scheme up how to slow down that passing offense. In order for the passing offense to take off, though, the pass protection is going to have to be on point so that Geno Smith has time to get the football to his receivers. And that leads us to the right guard position. And Anthony Bradford, fourth-round pick coming out of LSU. Rob, he's going to have an opportunity to compete to start right away against Phil Haynes. Haynes is going to be
whoever's trolling.
Start training camp, but Haynes doesn't have, incredibly, because Haynes is a good athlete, he is not the athlete that Anthony Bradford is, though, at 330-plus pounds. You don't see very many guards that can move the way that Anthony Bradford can. And oh, by the way, he'll knock your teeth out as a punishing run blocker. So that is something that was missing from this offense last year. Not just in the pass protection aspect, but somebody that can really push the line.
Yeah, what the hell you're slow as doing? Yeah.
Bradford could be a guy that could immediately be a factor in improving that right out of the gate.
I hope so. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think, I thought that just going back for a moment was one of the things that Dallas was saying. I think he articulated it very well. Just the way that Jackson Smith and Jigba and D. Eskridge are very different players, despite obviously the wide receiver position. Anthony Bradford, in a lot of ways, though, that actually kind of reminds me a little bit of a young Phil Haynes.
Yeah, what the hell you doing, man?
In that I do see the athleticism, not necessarily in terms of the time drills, because Phil Haynes had a pretty solid workout a few years back, but certainly not the way that Bradford did during his combine. So as you mentioned, 330 pounds, I mean, he was just absolutely dynamic because of his speed, his change.
Vince Carter! Come to me, Vince.
Size, be able to move the way that he can, and play the left tackle position, play the right tackle position, called upon as well. So again, that's demonstration of his athletic ability. At the same time, I do definitely see much more.
Come to me, Vince.
In this game than you would like to see for a guy that might be asked to come in and play the league. That's why, as you said, I 100%.
I don't know.
Still Haynes is the likely starter at this point. That's the practice.
That's all I'm. What are you doing, process? You sorry, fucker?
Bradford ultimately winds up winning this job out of camp or even early in the season, unless Bill Haynes himself struggles.
Yeah, how your process do that? My process do.
Of course, hasn't started that many games yet, but I just think that he is a little bit more ready at this point.
Oh, I missed that.
Looking at the next player on our count now, the Seahawks are hoping that they don't have to see him playing the snaps. They didn't play the snaps last year, but the backup quarterback.
I did sell Duncan ass. I'm gonna get him though. We gonna get his ass.
You're gonna need Drew Lock to be able to step in.
Oh goddamn! I forgot I had the in-game goddamn MB. I'm playing. I got the hero. That bitch shot fast as hell.
He was really good in Pittsburgh, and and it looked like maybe he was gaining ground on Geno Smith. Then he gets COVID. Doesn't
Oh,
play
he
the
is
second preseason
fucking
game, and
kidding.
then his final audition against the Dallas Cowboys throws not one, not two, but 3 interceptions.
I don't care.
That is
I'm just banning him by blocking him. I just hide him.
Has been the mistakes and the interceptions in bunches, but still a 26-year-old quarterback that still has a lot of the physical tools to be a starter, and so that makes him maybe a
I'm
better
just
backup
banning,
than a lot of teams.
no unbanning.
He definitely is a better backup than most teams have in the NFL. And as you talked about,
I swear, why am I missing everything right now?
that you would want in a quarterback. Raw athletic ability to be able to
I really just missed about 10 shots in a row.
the throw power to be able to throw anything you want, wherever you wanted it. The natural swag on the field. Drew Lock looks like a dude who's comfortable being a quarterback, being the guy that everyone looks to. He seems to relish in that. However, the consistency hasn't been there, and that's why he hasn't been.
Why are we just missing?
In the NFL since he was drafted. And
We just banning off rip today, Clyde.
and sometimes decision making.
Yeah.
Just his arm a little
I stream on Twitch too.
better arm than probably 90% of NFL quarterbacks.
It's the same baking soda 28.
Now, that was the battle between Lock and Smith was who was going to win it. But knowing Pete and going from what Pete wanted in quarterback, decision making is one of the hugest factors. So that's the reason why Lock is still a backup. But he is better than most backups in today's game.
I feel like if they got in a position where Smith didn't necessarily,
That's what I stream Madden on for sure.
they at least would feel comfortable. Drew Lock is
Play music and shit.
He started what you think, so that would be a player who would at least give him a chance to be competitive. Now it's the second season with scheme. We've seen what Shane Waldron can do with quarterback. We've seen what Pete Carroll can do.
Madden, I be want to turn up.
USC, and so they do have confidence in it. If they didn't, they wouldn't have brought it back. And they gave him $4 million. It's pretty good money for a backup quarterback too. So that tells you where the organization stands as far as what they think of him going into his second season with the Seahawks. And wrapping up this section of the countdown, I think all of us are going to have to weigh in on this one because Jason Myers, this has truly been a Jekyll and Hyde player for the Seattle Seahawks, and it's been even and odd years. And we've talked about this so many times in the podcast. Last year was an even season, and look at the phenomenal numbers of Jason Myers. 34 for 37 on field goals. He was 6 for 6 for 50-plus yards. He was money. 41 out of 42 PATs. And you look at his career track record, that is a really good set of numbers there because he has actually missed quite a few PATs. In fact, he's missed more PATs than any kicker in NFL history. Not necessarily history you want to make, but he was one of the best kickers in the league last season. He was selected by the NFLPA to All-Pro team, and yet, Rob, we are a little bit hesitant because guess what? It's 2023, and that is an odd number, and we've seen what has happened for Jason Myers and 2 other odd seasons he's had.
Come on, process. Trust the process.
I don't want to overstate that.
What's up, nephew?
Back in 2017,
What's up?
season, he hit 73.3.
Oh, I'm at the house chilling. Why was up?
2021 in Seattle, he hit 73.9.
What? No, heck no.
17 of 23 with a long of 53 yards.
No, because I just got to give your mama some money.
It is a fact that he has missed more.
And then you need them shoes.
Kicker that has been around for more than a couple of seasons.
I know, she already told me. Oh, I'm trying to tell you.
Career completion rate in the extra points is
You heard me?
just over.
I said you heard me.
91.2%. So
all right.
9 out of 10. In this last year, he made 97.6% career high in his extra points. Only missed 61. So Jason Myers is a 2-time Pro Bowl kicker. He is among probably the 5 or 6 best kickers in all of the NFL. But that's been a
What the hell's going on?
And when
Well, I'm not shooting that.
Game the Seahawks play, then it's critical. But to me, one of the
They ain't let me shoot. What the fuck?
about this, even when his accuracy has kind of gone up.
Girl, what the fuck is you filing for, you ugly motherfucker?
And I think that he has shown better that very few kickers in today's NFL have been at least this consistency. And to me, again, that's why he's fit for the Seahawks and why he is justly placed here as being one of the top 30 to 35 players in Seattle offense.
In Dallas, some people might look at the contract as the amount of money they're investing well, like to be better spent elsewhere. But this is truly one of those positions where you're willing to shortchange until that replacement kicker comes in and botches a chance for you to go to the NFL.
Oh, this is what it is, EA. That's what it is.
Like, pay a little more for
Oh,
reliable, like
it's one of them.
is a investment that's well worth it.
One of the best quotes I ever heard was, I don't remember exactly who said it, but the kicker is the only position on an NFL team where no one else could do his job. No one else on that team is going to be able to all of a sudden kick a 50-yard field goal with 2 seconds left in the game. The kickers, as you said, no one wants to pay them until the game is on the line. You want to go to the Super Bowl, and you got your set minimum contract out there, and you know he's going to get the money. Like, that's all of a sudden when you.
And if you want everything, you want a PlayStation card, you want Air Forces, you want shoes, you want this.
And he will continue to be, I'm going to call that he's going to break the curse this year, and he finally will have a great year.
I'm going to hold that to you, Dallas, because if he has another rough on season, we're going to say that it's your fault that you continued the curse by trying to play an we'll see. I'm hoping that he's able to do it. It's not like he's been the worst thing for the league, honestly. You just haven't been here for even year. Maybe with that new contract, he bucks that trend this year. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, Corbin Smith NFL. You can follow Rob and Rob Rang at Dallas C. Cooper. Subscribe and follow Locked On Seahawks on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts to ensure you don't miss a single episode. Coming up on our Blue Friday show, we'll have Forecast Friday. We'll be diving into Noah Fant as well as Kobe Bryant expectations for the upcoming season and revisiting what they did last year. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for listening in and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Go Hawks.
Okay, Sally. That they will do, Clyde the Glide.
Jigba, the Seahawks had one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. What does the presence of the first-round pick out of Ohio State do to take this group to another level? We're going to be
Stop cheating me, man. And give me this goddamn Vince.
On Locked On Seahawks.
You are Locked On Seahawks, your daily Seattle Seahawks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Greetings, 12. This is Corbin Smith, host of the Locked On Seahawks podcast, your daily Seahawks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Glad to be joined, as always, by my host in crime, Rob Rang, who today is Rob on the road.
Keep getting full bar, no green.
He's out chilling, doing some vacationing here for the 4th of July holiday. We will not have a show tomorrow, a very rare day off here at Locked On Seahawks. And that being said, we've got a fun Monday show before we get to
Yeah.
We're going to be breaking down the receiver group in our latest training camp preview. We'll be tackling your mailbag questions for our Monday mailbag, and we'll continue our countdown with numbers 35 through 31. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/locked.
Ah, yo. What's got into you?
Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Now, for your
Okay, Artist Gill, we're going to get on your ass.
Even for
Yep.
was selected with the 20th pick
That's good, Artist.
draft, the Seahawks had one of the best receiving corps in the NFL because of the presence of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, one of the best 1-2 punches on the outside in the entire league. But this team has been looking for that number 3 option. They drafted the Eskridge a few years ago. That to this point has not worked out. They haven't really had that number 3 receiver that can take this group to the next level, and they're hoping that Smith and Jigba is going to be able to do that. And heading into training camp, Rob, there's a lot of questions.
Trust the process.
But I think when you look at this receiver group, the only question that really needs to be asked going into the season is, what does the ceiling look like for this receiver group with Jackson Smith and Jigba being added to a team that already has DK Metcalf,
All right.
Tyler Lockett? They're hoping a more effective Eskridge.
That was a beautiful pass, Durant. The quick pass back was beautiful.
You muted yourself, Rob.
Sorry about that, guys. As Corbin says, it's the very first show on the road here, and so there's been technical difficulties, but hopefully that will not.
Oh, big ass Artist Gilmore.
I think that you are
Artist Gilmore, big as hell, man.
break down all the different positional groups of the Seahawks. Obviously, there's going to be one critical question for basically every single position, but for the Seahawks wide receiver core, there's
Get off me,
so much
Artist.
talent. There's so much proven production already, of course, with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. The first two wide receivers in the same season to both go for 1,000 yards for the Seahawks. And yet, it still feels like there is that untapped potential there. And as you said, we've been kind of waiting to see a third receiver kind of come out of the woodwork. I think at minimum, you're expecting.
Oh, I can't wait till the NFL do start, though, man. What y'all favorite NFL teams is, man?
Be able to duplicate the production loss.
Oh, y'all don't watch the NFL.
Tied for third with most touchdowns with 4.
Y'all just basketball junkies, huh? Come here, Trey.
Among all the Seahawks, behind the top 2 wide receivers, of course, Metcalf and Lockett, as well as Seahawks' top 2 receiving tight ends in Noah Fant and Will Disley. To me, that's the absolute floor. Is they're going to be at least as good as
the Patriots.
And I think that there's an argument that you could make that this is going to be the best Seattle wide receiver core in franchise history, and arguably the best wide receiver core in all of the NFL. And so that's why I do think that the Seahawks in the passing offense, the moon basically is the Seahawks. I mean, that is the Seahawks wide receiver core.
Or the Bucks. Tampa Bay Bucks.
Could take off because again, as good as DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are,
Been since this minute. Clyde, what the hell you drinking, man? What the hell you typing? Your fingers hurting something today.
Make an argument that the biggest play that DK Metcalf has made to this date.
You got them bitches band-aided up, or you got band-aids on your fingers? What are you typing?
A couple of years ago. I think that's one that's still an iconic one that people are going to remember. So it does feel like as good as Seattle's wide receivers have been to this point, it still feels like
you can't say that.
Way. They could go to become even more formidable.
I've always looked at it this way, and
yeah, he was on the Bucks last.
Mitigate this a little bit during the middle of the season last year, when they had another guy that could really fly downfield and grab the attention of opposing defensive coordinators, but they just haven't had that player that can get into the field right stroke. They haven't had that guy, at least since Doug Baldwin retired. Baldwin was very good at doing that. He had a lot of other things that he did outside the halves as well, but they have not had that number 3 receiver that can really attack between the hash marks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Catches consistently, be a chain mover consistently, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to check off those boxes. And I still believe that the experts, when he's healthy, I do this kind of like the Rashad Penny situation. We have not really gotten a chance to see what experts can do because when he has been healthy, he's just been trying to work into the rotation, and then he gets hurt again. And so if we could just have a clean bill of health, he's really the wild card to me.
I got Bo balling on Phoenix now, man. Phoenix are going to be hooping this shit, man. Ah, come here. Oh, no. Come on, y'all.
The pressure is now completely off Eskridge, unless you're going to say there's pressure to make the team, which I suppose you could say that is there right now. But he doesn't have that weight that we're looking for you to be the number 3 receiver to go with Metcalf and Lockett. That pressure is off his shoulders now to go up, be healthy, and be a playmaker, and he can still be a guy that is really effective in this offense. And imagine if he's able to do that, you suddenly have a quartet of receivers that opponents have to deal with. Oh, by the way, Tariq Young is still a player to keep an eye on as well because he started to show up late last year, and he's got something that Eskridge and Smith-Njigba do not have, and that is great size. That it is going to help him break tackles, play on the outside. It's just got a lot of different playmaking options here, Rob. It really makes this a fascinating group, and as Nick and I both argued on Friday, it is the most talented group in Seattle offensive side of football, which is saying something. There's a really talented position group on this offense.
Yeah, but nothing like the wide receiver.
The Jerry's Tech House.
I 100% agree with that assertion for both of you. I love that you mentioned Tariq Young when it comes to wild card. I mean, I certainly have high expectations for D. Eskridge. I kind of stop when I see other Seahawks fans out there who, just aren't as good as they are as Seahawks.
Magic.
He only has one touchdown to this point in his career. Obviously, that has been a disappointment to the Seahawks and to Eskridge. But if Eskridge were suddenly just to be released by Seattle, there would be 31 other NFL franchises out there who would just fall over themselves to put in a bid for a guy that has this combination of speed and makes you miss kind of potential. I mean, again,
Oh yeah, Brady.
You made the
Brady laid the wood a few times, man. He'll knock you out, man.
A big time player.
He a boxer, ain't he?
Obviously, is struggling with durability, but there's a reason why the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles are the ones that side Rashaad Penny, because they know that he has that type of immediate big play potential, and Eskridge has that as well. So again, I think that, to me, one of the most exciting things about this wide receiver corps.
Did he ever fight Floyd?
At least it feels like the sure things. We've been lulled into this sense of security that Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are sure things because they've just been so darn durable, so darn productive. But you also have that element of, what could Jackson Smith and Jacob be? What could a healthy Eskridge be? And again, with Tariq Young, with Kate Johnson, and Jake Bobo, if you want to get down into the depth chart, there are some talented players here. And as I talked about before, to me, the best receiving corps in all the NFL program are the ones where you can kind of mix and match. I've used the Baskin Robbins pick your own flavor so many times, but I really think that's critical in today's NFL. Every NFL team out there has some really talented corners, some really talented safeties, but they all also have some type of deficiencies. If you've got the really talented receiver corps that's very versatile, you can mix and match, especially when you have a quarterback as talented and as accurate as Geno Smith.
And I'm glad you mentioned a couple of the undrafted guys, because Jake Bobo, Matt Landers, and you talk about a guy that's 6'4", that ran in the 4.3s and averaged over 20 yards per reception the last couple of years in college. Now, he is a one-trick pony, but he is extremely good at that one trick. And if you're scoring 40, 50-yard touchdowns downfield, that's a pretty good trick to have in your bag.
Whoa.
So there are some guys here that, I think Landers and Bobo would probably have a really good chance to make a number of teams in the NFL. I don't know if they can make this team, though, with all the depth the Seahawks have. And Kate Johnson, another one that I'm glad you mentioned, because Geno Smith showed one thing that I think is critical for bottom-of-the-roster receivers. He showed great trust in Kate Johnson in that season finale last year against the Rams. He even completed a couple passes to him in the playoff game against the 49ers. He wouldn't be throwing the ball to Kate Johnson if he didn't have that trust and that chemistry. So I think he's a guy that's kind of been forgotten with all these newcomers, the undrafted guys that you should still keep an eye on, especially if he can return kicks and punch, which he did in the college level. That's another area that Eskridge could shine. So with this much depth, with this much talent, you're going to have to be able to contribute to special teams to make this football team. They got a lot of different size, a lot of different athletic traits, a lot of different play styles in this group to go with the star power at the top. And it's going to make it a really fun position group to watch. Maybe battling for one or two roster spots that are available there in training camp and the preseason. Coming up next, we're going to get to your
Take what?
questions, tons of questions on Twitter.
What you asked one day, Take?
YouTube. We'll get to those here in a moment. Our Monday edition of Locked On Seahawks, which is brought your way by LinkedIn Jobs. These days,
you just got to click on them and see what player. It'll show you.
You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available.
And click on the badge and add the player. It'll show what player. Some players already got it.
When I was a site manager, LinkedIn Jobs was my go-to to post writing positions to land top candidates. And they made the process easy and seamless. All you have to do is create your job post and then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the best candidates, the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. You're listening to the Monday edition of Locked On Seahawks. This is your host, Corbin Smith. Glad to be joined. He's on the road, but he's here for the show. My co-host in crime, Ron Rang. And a special thanks to all the phones out there, whether you're listening down in Malibu, California, or across the country in Dover, Delaware. We greatly appreciate it.
And a lot of times, sometimes you got to start with a bronze badge and go up. You got to go bronze, silver, gold. Hall of Fame.
Coming up on Wednesday, we're going to get to way back Wednesday, and we're going to be diving into our all underrated team.
So I'm gonna take the badge if they don't got a bronze to start off.
Position as well as receivers, some really fun players that we'll be talking about as we continue to build our all underrated squads. You won't want to miss it.
Oh yeah.
Holiday. Let's get to your questions here on our Monday mailbag. And our first one, Rob, you and I are going to have a lot of fun with this one. Coming from Jeremy on YouTube, which non-NFL pro athlete would you have paid the most money to watch play for the Seahawks, and why?
The two athletes that immediately jump to my mind are just great, iconic athletes, and that being Babe Ruth and Muhammad Ali.
Shaq. You put them badges on them.
If I'm going to be paying money to watch an athlete, then I want to see the greatest of all time. I actually feel like in some ways we're watching one of the greatest of all time in Shohei Ohtani and what he's doing with the Angels. But if I'm going to go way back, then certainly the Babe and Muhammad Ali would be two people that I definitely would have loved to be able to see in person.
I think Muhammad Ali would have been a really fun pass rusher in the NFL. Yeah. I think that he would have been great at that position. As for Babe Ruth, it's tough to tell because he was a big guy for his time, but who knows now what he would be playing. He had kind of that nasty edge. Maybe he ends up being an offensive or defensive lineman. It's easy to point to LeBron James on this one because Pete Carroll tried to recruit him when the NBA had that lockout years ago. The Seahawks had a jersey with James' name on it, and certainly LeBron James would have been fun catching passes for Russell Wilson. That would have been exciting. But I'm actually going to go with a guy that's playing in the majors today who was an extremely good high school football player, and that was Aaron Judge. And I hate saying it because I'm a Blue Jays fan, and so I despise the Yankees, but I have...
Oh, damn, Chet. I got to get your shot, huh? I got to get you back. My bad, Chet. My bad, baby.
He had a bunch of D1 offers, and rightfully so. This guy was a monster. Seen him on a baseball field. He is a big human being. He would have been fun. Maybe him coming in as Geno Smith's competition at quarterback because he could throw the ball a country mile, and he's an athlete that can run around too. So Aaron Judge, I think, would be a lot of fun. We're talking modern players. I agree with Muhammad Ali. I just would have liked to see him on football. Chasing after quarterback.
Chet was around the shot, baby.
I think he would have been pretty fun to watch on the gridiron. Next question here, this one specifically for Rob. From Pat ACC on Twitter. The DB room is crowded with talent. Any thoughts on trade possibilities? Say Mike Jackson, showcasing in the preseason.
I can't figure Chet shout out right now. Chet.
Yeah, I think High Day 2 is going to be pretty rich. But at the same time, I absolutely believe
that ain't Chet.
That Seattle's cornerback room is one of the deepest in all of the NFL, and there's going to be some teams out there who are going to come calling. We have had back-to-back really good, strong crops in the college market. So there's going to be a lot of clubs out there who have very young quarterback rooms. Kansas City Chiefs are one, for example. A very young quarterback room. They had two University of Washington and Washington State guys, Jalen Watson and I'm fixed on the other one.
There you go, Chet. Get in the game.
Anyways, that's an example of a club that is playing to win right now, of course, as a champion that has a lot of youth back there, and I do think that there is going to be a market for Seattle to try to possibly pedal away one of these best performers.
Vic, you long as hell.
But at the same time, let's look at Seattle use themselves as a possible Super Bowl contender, and I think that this is going to be one of the commodities, that cornerback depth that John Schneider is going to rightly prioritize and keep. So I don't expect the Seahawks to be making any moves. I do think that Mike Jackson's going to get plenty of playing time because he's earned it. And Devin Witherspoon is going to have to kind of fight his way back through Roland. He's going to have to work his way back from the surgery just to get that spot on the
Give him some, Chet.
Next question here coming from Greg Betts on Twitter. If Anthony Richardson was available, would the Seahawks have number 5? So, Rob, you and I both have interesting perspective on this, and obviously we can't indicate who we have talked to behind the scenes, but I know during draft weekend that I asked a number of people about that possibility, and I got pretty coy responses, as you would expect. Nobody's going to outright tell you, oh yeah, he was there, we were going to take him, but reading through the team meeting, it
Oh, Chad, you got to swing that one too, Chad. Just swing that to New York City. I'm going to New York City. New York City, here I come.
Anyway, and I kind of got the viewpoint that all along Witherspoon was the guy that they really wanted, and that they would have taken him even if Richardson was the guy that was still there at number 5. That's at least the way that I've viewed it from the responses I've gotten. Again, that might just be some scout speak or whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't seem like that is something the Seahawks
No.
kind of surprised me.
I want the pump fake.
Yeah, I definitely.
Maybe don't want me to let me
bought into
pump
the
fake
idea that
sometimes.
Seattle was going to go with Anthony Richardson. I had him going
There's
in our
Garland.
mock draft. I've talked to enough people in Seattle's organization. I feel very confidently if he had been available at the 20, then he would have been very much in the mix. I don't know that he would have
Shoot.
been their pick at number 5. I flat out asked that exact question to a couple of different guys. Yeah, they kind of give you that ride grin. But at the same time, I think that they absolutely believe in Kevin Wood, especially believe in Geno Smith. And I think that they saw the risk factor that Anthony Richardson was. Again, maybe at 20, but not at 5. It's basically the party lines that I heard, kind of, on and off air, so to speak. Whether I had people around me or just in few conversations since then. I do believe that they were very intrigued by him, but I think that they basically feel like they had a little like they haven't just followed the lap of Geno Smith. And again, I think that they feel like they can compete right now. And so why not do that? And so that's why I believe that they took the strategy. I 100% believe that
I see you, Luca.
absolutely interested in Anthony Richardson.
I think if they would have traded down, like if Witherspoon got taken earlier, I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios where Richardson could have potentially been the guy. But based on what I have been told before the draft, during the draft, after, it seems like that was not one of their first targets really at that spot at number 5. Next question from Blueberry Chuck says there were recently some Shelby Harris back to Seattle rumblings. Smoke or fire? So I'll say this. I think right now that it's just smoldering. Let's just use that word. I think that as long as Shelby Harris doesn't have a team, that there is a chance that the Seahawks can try to make something happen to open up enough cash so they can sign it. Because I think John Schneider and Pete Carroll know that if there's one area on this football team going into this year that they still could put reinforcements out there or need reinforcements, it is that defensive line that's got so many new faces, got a lot of young guys there.
Yeah.
So I think as long as Shelby Harris is on the market and hasn't signed with somebody, it's a possibility. And I would not be surprised at all if early in training camp that they ended up bringing him back. But there's some things they're going to have to do behind the scenes to open up some cap space in order to be able to make such a sign. So we'll have to wait and see. That's really where we're at right now. I know fans are wanting there to be fire there, and maybe there will be, but right now I think it's just smoldering, and it's just a possibility. We'll just leave it at that. Next question here for Rob, Little Billy on YouTube. How many 40-plus yard receptions do you think Jackson Smith and Jigba will have this year, and how many deep ball targets will he be stealing away from DK and Tyler? That's certainly an interesting question because even though this isn't known as his game, Rob, he does win downfield, I think, more than people realize.
He does. He obviously had a heck of a quarterback throwing him the ball at Ohio State in a very aggressive offense. I do not expect there to be a large number of 40-plus yard plays for Jackson Smith and Jigba, at least not as a rookie for the Seahawks. Maybe one, maybe two. I think that the bigger plays in terms of yards per reception, yards per score, I think that's going to remain in the DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett as well. Both of those are very highly targeted receivers in the short to intermediate zone, in the red zone. That to me is where I think the Jigba's going to make his hay. Is a third down guy as a red zone target, but not necessarily as that big deep play kind of a guy. I don't think that he's Marquise Goodwin. I think the closer comparison here is D. Eskridge, as we talked about before. To me, that is the guy who I think is going to carve into possibly Metcalf and Rocket and Jackson Smith and Jacobs big play touchdowns. It's going to be D. Eskridge. He is the one who I think is going to have the most or the highest average in terms of big plays for the Seahawks in 2023.
And our last question here coming from Taylor Brand on YouTube. What position on offense, defense do you believe needs to be addressed for the Seahawks to be closer to Super Bowl contention? Are there free agents or players in the trading block that they should look into to fill these spots. So the obvious answer here, and Rob's going to be shaking his head yes on this, and we just talked about it, is defensive tackle. That is still the position that stands out to me where I'm just wondering, have they done enough to truly be a contender? And then on the offensive side of the football, I actually, I'm not going to say that I'm the only person that had said this. I actually saw somebody else that tweeted this a few days ago, but I actually would like to see the Seahawks add some depth at tackle right now. And I'm talking on the offensive side of the ball. And there's a certain guy that played in Seattle for a few years that's still in the market named George Fant. I would love to see George Fant come back on a veteran minimum deal and play that sixth offensive lineman role that he was so good at, and then you have an experienced backup to go with Stone Forsythe, and you could play either one of those guys at both tackle spots. And so I think that offensive line depth is probably the other thing that I would point out, but defensive tackle, in terms of adding a starter caliber player, that is the one spot. Who knows who's going to be available at the end of training camp? Still got Shelby Harris out there. There are a few other veterans, but Harris would be the most logical because of his familiarity and just the talent that he would bring to the equation. There's not a lot of other veteran options out there that I think would be worth all the juggling cap-wise Seattle would have to do in order to make it happen. You're listening to the Monday edition of Locked On Seahawks. I'm your host, Corbin Smith. Glad to be joined by my co-host from crime, Rob Rang. He's on the road enjoying some pre-July 4th camping, but we're glad to have him on board for the show today. And a special thanks to all, as always, for making Locked On Seahawks your first listen 5 days a week. We greatly appreciate it. For everydayers, we won't be on the air tomorrow, taking a rare day off for the July 4th holiday, but we'll be back for Way Back Wednesday. Later this week. Continue our all underrated teams with linebackers and receivers. Should be a really fun episode. You won't want to miss it. We are now almost to the 20s in our 90-man countdown, numbers 35 through 31. And we wrapped up our last segment of 90-man countdowns with a special teams ace. We're going to continue this one with a special teams ace, Rob, and that being Michael Dixon. Everybody remembers the Broncos.
I can't put these on no damn buddy. Michael Porter. JR. Probably just put it on my goddamn diamond. I probably put it on my damn Ralph because I be using Ralph sometimes. And this I can't put on no damn body. Bunch of short motherfuckers I ain't gonna use. Put on a little dirt. Dunk on somebody with a little dirt. JoJo White hooping though. Leon got fast switch y'all. I am Agent is running of Agent 3, cut shooter, corner special, bail out. All my life, you've been trying to keep me down. I don't got a. So why it's not going on my yard? I don't know why it's not going on my yard. James, fear the beard. What Virginia is this? It's the 16-bit. No. Rico. Oh, that fucking Sean Livingston. I ain't worried about them. So you more worried about them than me, Clyde. The whole internet full of trolls. It's all half of these motherfuckers is. You forgot you used to troll. It's a bunch of y'all. It's a lot of kids, man. They just think they think that's cool. Already got it, so okay. Let's go. Well, let me walk away then. Let me get up out of there. Oh. Hey, shut it up, man. No. Glad I do. And then I do Bam Bam Camby and Jay Grimes stream. And he just got banned. If that ain't him, that's somebody trolling him. Damn Brown. All right, I'm back. Oh shit. Yeah, thought I look at them both. Thank you.
Education tailored to her. She'll become a doctor, chef, or entrepreneur. Yes, you can. Well, I know her program sets her up for success and be able to watch her growth and progress. Yes, you can.
Clock in. Like that.
Black guy, he walked in.
He already dead. There ain't no need to second files. Yeah. He already dead. There ain't no need.
Seems like I gotta stand up, man. Yo, I hope y'all happy to see me. Cause I'm happy to see you. Cause I ain't think I was gonna see me. I thought I was gonna lose. I thought y'all were gonna lose me. You did what I'm saying? Let me stop lying. I ain't backing down from nothing. I ain't standing down. No, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Officially, face cam back on. But I'm gonna still definitely be dropping voice videos as well, bro. We're gonna be shooting the content out extreme. Y'all, I'm tired as hell. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I've been real deal ripping, running, but I ain't cur. Y'all gonna see me. I know this is past due. You feel me? Still currently having issues with this hotspot thing, bro. Went to the store and all to get it, bro. Y'all watch my Daily Gotti channel because I'm going to be daily vlogging over here now. I didn't end up getting it, so I really had to end up ordering it. It don't come until the 31st. But you know what I'm finna go do? Just like a bitch stole my Wi-Fi, I'm finna go steal my Wi-Fi and I'm finna drop videos, bro, because I got videos that need to be dropped. You feel me? But let's get to the topic on at hand. Nah, I don't want to say I told y'all so, but I don't think I gotta say I told y'all so because I looked through the comments and a lot of y'all was like, hell yeah, got it. We been knew you was on point. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Literally everything that I was seeing ended up playing out, whether you liked it or not. So you guys can really go back and watch my videos and listen to what I was saying. And everything I was saying led up to this. I told y'all this ain't gonna be no easy decision. And once people do not agree on something, that's the hardest thing to do is get them to agree. Y'all remember the analogy I used yesterday with the auntie and uncle got to come in between y'all BS and try to calm you down, but you'll just vibe out just cause? That's exactly what the jury just did. They vibed out just cause, but they all came to a conclusion we would not agree on. You know what I'm saying? We probably need another jury to come through so they could disagree, because I'm pretty sure the next jury gonna come through and feel the same way. But y'all, let's watch this video real quick of how the judge ended up calling this a mistrial.
So at this time, indicate that how much we appreciate the fact that you were here and feel concerned. One thing I try to tell jurors at the beginning of the trial process, don't be doing that.
Jason Kidd.
Our system doesn't work. We're not getting people from the community to come in here and listen to the facts and case and make decisions. These type of decisions, they're hard decisions, and we very much appreciate the fact that you
Wemby, where you going, bro?
I also want to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have yet to deliberate. Discussions with both should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you the unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. The lawyers and our representatives are not permitted to initiate any communication with you about the trial. However, you may speak with the lawyer or anyone else about the trial. You also have a right to refuse to speak with anyone. A request may come to those for simple curious or for those who might seek on a form. It will be up to you to decide whether to observe your privacy as the true or not. Thank you. I want to thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated. You're free to go. Nice to swear down. Thank you.
Shaq. Come on, man. Y'all just starting to cheat now, man. Bullshit. Back to the start, docket. Let's go, y'all.
Yes, sir. All right. So we'll see you back at 28. All right. So you remember those. Thank you. Appreciate it all.
I heard you were offered a job. That's great. Thanks. Is it hourly, salary, or commission-based?
It's, what?
You know, how you're being paid.
Well, I'm not sure, actually.
You know that not all jobs are paid the same way, right? Hourly wages, tips, salaries, and commissions are just a few ways you can earn money in the 90,000 hours you may be working in a lifetime. Wow, that's a lot of time and potentially a lot of jobs. So let's learn about the various ways you can earn that money.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
The first form of income is hourly, which represents more than half of U.S. workers.
Well, I know a lot of the Melly fans is happy, but I know the family of them boys who passed, they pissed off. I'm talking about they furious. I'm talking about super furious, fast and furious. But we all don't know how this mistrial thing is going to work out. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to go like this. It's going to, here y'all go with the Mr. I Know It All. Extra big bifocals on your face. Think you know it all again. Y'all already starting it. And you was the same people talking about, he's guilty. Throw away the key. You was the same people. Now you coming back here with them big ass glasses again talking about, oh, this is finna happen. We don't know what the hell finna happen. Every mistrial is dealt with differently. You feel what I'm saying? We do not know how they finna deal with this mistrial. I believe they said something about they finna do something in a week. So I guess they gonna talk about how this mistrial is gonna take place. Now, me, obviously, how I feel this can end out and why I feel like it turned out like that is because of the same obvious reasons you guys realize why it turned out like that. How the hell you gonna come to a conclusion when there is nothing but doubt in your head throughout this whole case? You doubting everything. Now, if you just one of those people who, hell yeah, we're going with forensics off the dribble, because that's what they actually probably argued on. You feel what I'm saying? Certain people was like, we're going to go off forensics, and we're going to believe the forensics. And there was other people like, hell no, we can't base this man's whole life on just angles and stuff like that. Yeah, we went to math class, but after we went to high school, we ain't ever used angles again on Earth. You know what I'm saying? So the hell we finna do, listen to somebody else coming through with angles. Let's think about it. For real, y'all, this is exactly how they was actually probably talking to each other. You feel what I'm saying? And they was really heated with each other. They couldn't come to an agreement. The jury was pissed off with each other. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I feel like the next jury is gonna be pissed off with each other as well. One thing I don't like about this mistrial thing is because I feel like if he even comes to a mistrial, you might well say he's not guilty. Because if you can't even agree on the fact that this man is guilty, that should automatically be like, okay, bro, not guilty. You feel me? But they made it to where you gotta come to it.
Oh, man.
Either you're guilty or not. And that kind of does make sense, too. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just let no damn criminals out on the loose or whatever the case may be. But, man, I be on point like a motherfucking thumbtack, y'all. Like a thumbtack. For real. Now, y'all, better like this video up. I'm looking forward to see so many damn likes on this video because I'm showing my face right now. Don't care how I'm looking. Y'all see what's going on, bro. They ain't even set nothing up yet where I'm at, bro. I'm here.
Come on, MB. You sorry, motherfucker.
I'm doing this for y'all, man, and we not stopping, bro. Real talk, bro. And yeah, we going up, bro. And it's real. It's really that. You know what I'm saying? Call me what you want to. News reporter, snitch, rapper, activist, public figure, your daddy, Big 8, the 8 God. Call me what you want. But I know one thing you ain't gonna call me. We're gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna see y'all on the next video. Screw me.
With triple core grits and raspberry hot sauce. I'm Chef Jeff, and you're watching Public Favorites Cooking School online. So we're going to start with the hot sauce. Here's that heat. We've got some red chilies and some habaneros, and these guys are hot. Now, if you want to take the heat down on this, you're going to take out your seeds and your membranes. But that's up to you. That's how you can kind of govern how hot your sauce is going to be. Now to get this going, it's really pretty simple. We're going to take our peppers, along with our shallots, and our garlic.
Sponsor. After being put in a police cruiser, the handcuffed sponsor manages to undo her seatbelt. And then, despite officers being near the vehicle, she pulls off a Vegas-level magic trick by, ta-da, whittling her one hand out of her handcuffs.
Durant, what are you doing, bro?
Looks around and makes sure the officers are adequately distracted before following up her previous trick with an even crazier encore. As the stolen cruiser shoots back onto the main road, it narrowly misses a row of spike strips. But eventually, the chase comes to a dramatic end. After rejecting a plea deal that would have given her 16 years in prison, Sponsor got the jury trial she wanted. Unfortunately for her, after being found guilty, she was sentenced to a staggering 45 years in prison.
We're going to be checking out the NFL Zone presented by Visa. Blitz the back. Down to the north. Go, go, yes! So this is the San Francisco 49ers 40 creative map. I'm playing in the pocket. Yeah, there's three of them here on me, Sancho. Yeah. We're going to be jumping in to...
They just lost that ball like that.
The beautiful skyline of Pittsburgh. Oh my God, guys, it's back! I'm going to the New York Giants map. This is the NFL Zone Buffalo Bills. It's a hardpoint style map.
Bro, the map is actually legit. The map is legit fun. The Info Zone Bears map is a hide and go seek map. Watch out for little bears. But what? I was way over that! This cute and cuddly thing finds me all the time.
Use the code on screen and hop on over to the NFL Zone, presented by Visa.
Your patients are more than your disease. That's why at Novo Nordisk we've spent 100 years developing treatments to help unlock humanity's full potential. These are the breeds people living with and thriving with.
Why would you foul, man?
Disease. They motivate us to fight diabetes and obesity, rare diseases, and cardiovascular conditions for generations to come. So everyone can meet their moment, because your disease doesn't define you. It represents driving change.
It's 1:15 p.m. at the Ready Mart in Spruce Grove, Edmonton. And this man, 28-year-old Richard Parasow, has just been caught trying to buy a can of soda with a stolen credit card. Police have been called in to arrest the man, but he's not going quietly. After throwing his girlfriend, Brittany Burke, more on her in a minute, onto the officer and tangling with the store's owner, creating an impromptu game of
The 2023 Kia Sportage was built with more room for your passengers, more cargo space for your things, and more room for adventure. Wherever the road takes you, the Kia Sportage is ready. Grab a fantastic offer and get behind the wheel of your new Kia.
We all have hopes and dreams for what we want out of life, but sometimes, despite our best efforts, we encounter bumps along the way.
Our family started Boga Months a Month over 40 years ago, with the primary goal of helping others pursue their hopes and dreams. And if life gets tough, we're here to help you fight for what is right, for what you deserve.
Whether it's an injury, a deal gone bad, a lawsuit, a difficult family matter, or anything else standing between you and your dreams, choose us to help.
Choose Boga Months a Month.
Yo, what's going on out there, Fight World? This your boy Money back with another one, fam. And this one here is on two future Hall of Famers and arguably the greatest fighter of all time. We have Floyd Money Mayweather, Mr. 50 himself, Mr. Big Dollar Man. You know, he's arguably the greatest fighter to ever lace him up. You know, the man that helped revolutionize the boxing game. Then we have Terrence T-Boy Crawford, the three-division world champion, the former undisputed world champion, the current WBO welterweight world champ. And then we have Earl the Truth Spencer Jr., the king of the welterweight division, the WBC, the IBF, and the Super WBA unified world champ. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, Earl the Truth Spencer Jr. is going to do something that Floyd Money Mayweather never did, right? Just become undisputed at the welterweight division in the four-belt era and beating 4 world champions in a row to become undisputed. That's that man. Now, y'all already know how I feel about Floyd and this fight going down with Earl and Bud. You feel me? Crawford be victorious. He's not saying it openly, publicly, but y'all know Money Brown reading between the lines. Money Brown stays up on everything. And when I tell y'all Floyd is going against Earl, mark my words when I tell you. Now, EJ has the opportunity to do something that Floyd never did. You know what I'm saying? And that just to piss Floyd off even more. You know what I mean? Now, Turnbull Crawford have an opportunity to do something that Floyd never did. But Floyd want Bud to do it. You dig what I'm saying? Floyd want Bud to be the undisputed world champion. He want Bud to defeat Earl the Truth Spencer Jr. He want that accolade on Bud's resume. You dig what I'm saying? He have a better relationship with Turnbull Crawford than Errol Spence. Because like I told y'all, Earl already declined Floyd from joining the TMT team, Mayweather Promotions. But Turnbull Crawford is right there in Floyd Mayweather's sights. And this is Floyd Mayweather wants up under his banner because he feel like, you know, that can keep Mayweather Promotions smooth selling for a while until he find another big star that he can put out there like a Javante St. Davis. You understand what I'm saying? And he has one. Just take time for him to grow. But right now, Floyd wants Turnbull Crawford. You know what I mean? He wants Turnbull Crawford because he said out of his own mouth that Bud reminds him of himself. That he got a soft spot in the Crawford Bud because, you know, him and Bud was up on the Bob Byrne who did both of them wrong and shit like that. And he just feel like Turnbull Crawford overall, you know, the best fighter in boxing right now. Which I have no problem with, right? To each his own. Everybody can have their own picks, have their own opinions on how things is. And that's Floyd Money Mayweather. We already know whatever he thinks, he's standing on his business. So I can respect that as well. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that as well. But Floyd, you know, that knock off his legacy, where Earl Spence putting them paws on him, you feel me? And Earl Spence got the best of him in that sparring session. Like I tell y'all all the time, Floyd Mayweather don't forget nothing. Nothing at all. So when he's in a room with these dudes, he don't want to have to say, oh, well, shit, that's Earl Spence who finished undefeated in his career, who went undisputed at the welterweight division, who gave me that great work in sparring, and everybody felt like he would have whooped my ass if I would have fought that kid. He don't want them type of questions coming up. At all. At all. He want that shit nipped in the bud. So who else do he want to win? Bud. Y'all see how I put that? He want that shit nipped in the bud. So who do he want to win? Bud. You feel me? And that's how I look at it. But Earl got an opportunity to, you know, smack Floyd in the face once again. catch his ass with some body shots, and go out there and defeat Turnbull Crawford and become the new, undisputed welterweight world champion in the 4-belt era. You know, adding on something that Floyd never did in his career. And I know what Floyd gonna say. Oh, well, I held titles in 3 different divisions at once, something that nobody else has done. So I had this. No, Floyd, he gonna always find a way to get around when somebody do something he haven't did, and the spotlight is on them. You know what I'm saying? He gonna always find a way around it. Just like he did Canelo when Canelo came undisputed. You feel me? And now when it comes to Turnbull Crawford, Earl is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Or should I say, 2 birds with 4 stones, getting all them street straps. But nah, he's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He's knocking Turnbull Crawford ass off. The man that everybody talking about he was afraid of, he been ducking, he didn't want no smoke with. Oh, it took 5 years for this fight to happen. All the word shit. I'm breaking down that 5 year shit. But you know, y'all know how what people were saying about Earl when he was on his side of the street, doing business with PBC and the champions that was over on PBC. You feel me? So all that 5 year shit, that's out the door. But now Earl could have shut all that up July 29th. He could have shut all that up July 29th when he defeat Turnbull Crawford. Take that WBO strap for him, and then we'll see what people have to say then. You know? We'll see what people have to say then. You dig what I'm saying? And then it put Earl on another level. It put him in a category of his own at the welterweight division. You feel me? At the welterweight division. Still arguably the most glorious division in boxing. With the rich history that happened at 147. You know? And then Earl can go out there, he can stun on Floyd Mayweather ass and say, well, I did this for that you never did. Yeah.
Right now at Lexus of Winter Park and Lexus of Orlando, you can get a brand new 2023 IS300 for a low $439 a month. So come see us today at either location or visit us online, Lexus of Winter Park or LexusofOrlando.com.
To new beginnings and new friendships. I'm forever grateful to Chicago for what made me who I am. That city is all we got. We're gonna stumble sometimes, but we gotta help each other get back up again. And we all need to be mindful of the company we keep. Dude, investing in me is the best thing that ever happened to us. Everything we promised is coming true.
I'm not about to let the world pass me by while you out here living your best life.
To new beginnings and new friendships. It's my job to protect my community. They need us. I offer a young black man a chance for a better life. I don't like this. And then when somebody offers you a gift, you should take it.
Long way from where we started. The rest is garbage. You say we go the hardest.
Let's grow our own weed so we can be our own boss.
I encourage you all to do what you love. Never let anyone tell you you can't do something.
You didn't see nothing.